Stop. Just for a moment. What you're about to hear might feel strange, but something in you will know it's true. For your entire life, you've been called a word, a name that feels normal, neutral, even scientific, human. But what if that word was never meant to empower you? What if it was designed to keep you small? Because here's the truth. Words are not just sounds. They are frequencies. And the word human encodes the vibration of limitation. Break it down. Hu, from humus earth. Dirt. Dust. Man. The mind. The thinking being. Put together. The message becomes, you are a brain trapped inside clay, destined to return to the ground. But that's not your true name. Your real identity was never meant to be human. It was meant to be human. Hue, meaning light. Color. Frequency. Man from Mana's mind. Divine intelligence. You are not just matter. You are light. Encoded with consciousness. A living spectrum of vibration in human form. And the word they gave you, it was never big enough to hold what you truly are. Because once you identify with a word, you match its frequency. And when that frequency is small, you begin to live small. But now, the spell is breaking. You're waking up, and everything changes. If a single word could shape your reality, then the right word can also set you free. And that freedom begins not with action, but with energy. Words are powerful. We think they're just labels, tools for communication. But in truth, words are spells. They shape perception. They encode vibration. And they carry unseen commands that influence how we see ourselves and each other. Now think about this word, human. You've worn it your entire life. But what does it really mean? In Latin, humanus is derived from humus earth, soil, matter. The implication, you are of the dirt, physical, finite, disposable. A creature born from clay, destined to return to it. At face value, it sounds poetic. But peel back the layers and you'll realize it's a linguistic cage. Because when you say, I'm only human, you're not just expressing humility, you're reinforcing a deeply encoded belief that you are limited, fragile, separated from something higher. But here's where it gets interesting. What if that word was never complete? What if it was rebranded? The truer version, the original frequency, is not human, but Hue-man. Let's decode it. Hue is a spectrum of color, but in metaphysical language, it means frequency, energy, and light. Man, in its oldest form, stems from manas, a Sanskrit term meaning mind, but not just intellect. It refers to divine perception, to the spiritual faculty of knowing. In texts like the Vedas, Hermetica, and even Gnostic fragments, man is the vessel of cosmic awareness. So, human doesn't mean earthbound being. It means light-encoded awareness. An aware being operating through a spectrum of vibration, a prism through which the divine filters into form. Now think about the implications. If you call yourself human, you unconsciously accept the definition of being grounded, of being reduced to matter. But when you say, Hue-man, you are claiming your spectrum. You are aligning with your capacity to reflect, transmit, and bend the light of awareness. This isn't just semantics. It's neuro-linguistic programming. When a label is repeated often enough, especially from childhood, it becomes a linguistic implant in the subconscious. You weren't just taught to be human. You were trained to believe it, to repeat it, to embody it. It becomes a spell, a frequency lock holding you in a smaller bandwidth of potential. That's how language works. Not just as a communication tool, but as a carrier wave. Every word is a vibration. Every sentence is a sound code. And over time, those codes write your identity. But here's the empowering part. Code can be rewritten, spells can be reversed, and vibration, once understood, can be reclaimed. When you shift from identifying as human to human, you're not just changing a word. You're changing your wavelength. You're declaring to the universe, I know what I am. I'm not matter. I'm light in motion. And suddenly, life begins to respond to you differently. Because now, you're not speaking from the ground, you're speaking from the grid. You've stepped out of the box of biology and into the field of awareness. And this shift isn't just conceptual, it's energetic. It's real. Look around. People are waking up. They're remembering. Not learning something new, but reclaiming something ancient. They're beginning to feel it in their cells, their breath, their dreams, a resonance, a code that says, you were never just a name. You are a frequency made flesh. You are color. You are mind. You are the light disguised as ordinary. And once that realization takes root, you stop begging to be powerful because you finally remember you always were. So if words are codes, then maybe your story isn't broken. Maybe it's just been running the wrong script. And if language can be a trap, then it can also be a key. You are not here to repeat a name that was never meant to awaken you. You're here to embody the name that was always waiting, Hue-man. And the moment you speak it with intention, the field begins to shift. Your perception begins to realign, and your system begins to activate. Because beneath every identity society gave you, there's a light code ready to come online. And from here forward, everything changes. Because your name is no longer limitation, it's light. And now that you remember what you are, it's time to live that frequency. Next, we'll explore what that light truly is. Not metaphorically, but scientifically. Because the truth is, you are not just surrounded by energy, you are energy, and it's time you learned how to work with it. If I asked you who you are, you might answer with your name, your background, your story. But none of those are you. Not really, because underneath your name, your memories, even your body, there is something far more fundamental, more precise, more powerful. You are energy. You are light in motion. Not as a metaphor, not as a spiritual idea, but as a biological, electromagnetic, and quantum reality. Modern physics now confirms, at the deepest level, everything is vibration. Atoms are not solid. They're 9,999% space oscillating fields of energy, interacting through frequency. And you are a living, breathing, frequency field, a resonance system tuned into the greater energy grid we call the universe. Your thoughts are electrical, your emotions are magnetic, and every single cell in your body is emitting and receiving light. Yes, light. Biophotons. Tiny packets of light energy constantly emitted from your cells, especially from the DNA inside your nucleus. Your body is literally glowing. Even if your eyes can't see it. This isn't science fiction. This is measurable, peer-reviewed, repeated. Dr. Fritz Albert Popp, one of the pioneers in biophoton research, discovered that these light emissions are how cells communicate faster than any chemical signal. They form the basis of your body's biofield, a subtle, electromagnetic field that extends beyond your skin, shaped by thought, emotion, trauma, and intention. And this field, it's not static. It shifts. Every time your inner state shifts, every thought, every breath, every frequency of love or fear reprograms the field you emit. Ancient civilizations knew this intuitively. They didn't call it biofield, they called it the light body. The Egyptians understood it. They represented it through deities like Ra, the sun god, not just as worship of a celestial body, but as reverence for the source of all vibrational life. Ra was the eternal giver of light, a symbol of consciousness in radiant motion, and by aligning with that light internally and externally, you were aligning with the frequency of creation itself. In India, this same truth appears as prana, the life force. In China, qi. In the West, spiritus. Breath, the animating principle. Across cultures, across time, the message has been the same. You are not the flesh. You are the frequency that gives the flesh meaning. Now take that one step further. Imagine yourself not as a body, but as a beam of focused light like a laser. What makes a laser powerful coherence? It's not just light, it's light-aligned. Waves moving in unison. Energy with purpose. Direction. Clarity. That's what your consciousness does. It's your internal lens system. When you're scattered full of doubt, fear, noise, your energy is diffused, weak, incoherent. But when you become centered, aligned, self-aware, your energy focuses. It sharpens, it penetrates, and just like a laser can cut steel, your aligned awareness can cut through illusion, limitation, and fear. This is not esoteric theory. This is biophysics. It's why people who live in high emotional states, gratitude, joy, presence, literally emit a stronger, more coherent electromagnetic field. You can feel it when they walk into a room. It's not charisma. It's energy alignment. So why is this not taught? Because when you know you are light, when you remember that your every emotion, every belief, every intention is shaping your field, you become dangerous to any system built on fear. You're no longer programmable. You become the programmer. You stop asking for permission to heal, to lead, to grow. You realize that your frequency is creative code, broadcast into the quantum field. And once you understand that, you stop leaking energy into stories of powerlessness. You begin transmitting a signal that matches your highest truth. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And what you are beneath the body, beneath the noise, is light, in its purest, most intelligent form. So if that light is you, why are you still waiting for someone else to flip the switch? Let's talk about emotion. Because emotion isn't just how you feel. It's not random. It's not invisible. It's vibrational code broadcasting out from you. Every second. Shaping how others experience your energy and how reality responds to you. Every emotion you feel has a frequency. It emits a measurable signal, just like color, just like sound. And that frequency either elevates your field or collapses it. According to the HeartMath Institute, your heart emits the strongest electromagnetic field of any organ in the body. Not the brain, the heart. And when you're in a state of coherence, meaning your brainwaves and heart rhythm are synchronized, your energy field becomes more stable, more coherent, more powerful. When you're feeling gratitude, love, peace, your heart field expands. You become like a radiant transmitter, projecting harmonious frequency into the space around you. But when you're in fear, anger, anxiety, the field collapses. It becomes jagged, unstable, like a signal scrambling through static. And here's where it gets visually powerful. Imagine your emotions as color frequencies, because that's what they are. Just like white light passing through a prism breaks into a spectrum of color, your internal emotional state filters your energetic light into color-coded frequencies. Low-vibe emotions, shame, guilt, resentment are like muddy reds, murky browns, heavy grays. They distort light. They diffuse power. But when you shift into high-frequency emotions, joy, compassion, gratitude, your energy refracts as brighter, claires couleurs, radiant blues, vibrant greens, glowing golds. You don't just feel better, you shine differently. This isn't metaphor. This is measurable. Studies using bioelectrography and GDV gas discharge visualization imaging show that the energy field around your body changes color and shape based on your emotional state. You are a living light display, and your emotions are the filters through which your frequency is expressed. So here's the deeper truth. Emotion is the lens through which your light bends. It is the emotional prism that defines how the world sees you and how the field receives you. When you're operating in low emotion, it's not just your mood that suffers, it's your magnetism. Emotion isn't just energy in motion, it's aimed energy. It directs what you attract. It determines what you attract, what you align with, what you allow. Let's make this tangible. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt tension without anyone saying a word? That's vibrational broadcast. Someone's emotional field subconsciously communicated before their words ever arrived. Now, reverse it. Think of the last time you were around someone radiant, calm, joyful. You didn't just notice them. You felt lifted by them. Their frequency elevated the room. That's the power of the emotional spectrum. Your job isn't to avoid negative emotion. That's spiritual bypassing. Your job is to understand that every emotion is a signal and a switch. And once you become aware of which switch you're flipping, You can consciously choose the spectrum you operate from. Now, let's tie it back to light. You are, at your core, a bioenergetic prism. You're constantly refracting universal energy, and the angle of that refraction is set by how you feel. Low vibration collapses your light into shadow. High vibration amplifies it into brilliance. And just like a camera lens, if your emotional filter is distorted, everything you see will feel distorted. 2. The ancient mystics said, "As within, so without." But today, science says the same. Your inner frequency shapes the outer field. Your nervous system becomes attuned to what your emotions repeatedly broadcast. You train your perception to see either danger or possibility, scarcity or flow, separation or connection. It's not mindset, it's field set. So maybe the real question isn't, how do I feel today? The real question is, what spectrum am I projecting into the quantum field? Because that spectrum is what the universe mirrors back to you. You are not just reacting to reality, you are painting it. Brushstroke by brushstroke, emotion by emotion, hue by hue. And like any master artist, when you become conscious of your palette, you can choose how your light bends, what frequencies you amplify, and what reality you reflect. Because if your emotion bends light, then your life is the image that emerges through that lens. So ask yourself, what colors am I casting into the world? Am I filtering my light through fear or through clarity? Am I emitting shadows or becoming a spectrum worth following? Because your vibration isn't just a private experience, it's a broadcast, and the universe is always listening. And now that you know this, you get to choose what it hears and what it sends back. Because you are not just the light, you are the lens. And starting now, you get to set the angle. Let's get more precise. You've heard that your energy, you've felt that your vibration. But what if I told you you're also made of light? Not metaphorical light, not symbolic light, literal, biological light. Your body is glowing, constantly, quietly. And science has already proven it. In the 1970s, German biophysicist Dr. Fritz Albert Popp made a revolutionary discovery. Every living cell in your body emits tiny bursts of light called biophotons. These aren't heat signatures. They're not electrical sparks. They are ultra-weak photon emissions, so subtle. They require photomultiplier tubes to detect them. But here's what's astonishing. These light pulses are not random. They're coherent, structured, rhythmic, intelligent. They're how your cells communicate. Faster than hormones. More efficient than neurotransmitters. Your body isn't just a biochemical machine. It's a luminous network, exchanging information at the speed of light through frequencies far more subtle than we were ever taught to perceive. Imagine this. Every cell in your body is a candle, and your body, collectively, is a living torch. Your skin may not radiate visibly in the dark, but your field, your biofield, is electromagnetic, photonic, and deeply intelligent. This field carries your emotions, your thoughts, your traumas, not as metaphors, but as measurable vibrational imprints encoded in light. Pop's research went further. He discovered that cancer cells emit chaotic light, disordered, fragmented, inconsistent, whereas healthy cells emit coherent light, steady, rhythmic, symmetrical. This tells us something profound. Health is not just about chemistry, it's about coherence, about vibrational alignment, about how well your light is organized. And the quality of your light, its rhythm, its coherence, is influenced not just by diet, sleep, or movement, but by thought and emotion. Your mindset literally alters your photonic output. Your emotional state rewrites the information encoded in your biophoton emissions. So, when you're stressed, afraid, or disconnected, you're not just in a bad mood. You're emitting disorganized light. Your internal torch flickers. But when you're grateful, aligned, heart-centered, you radiate with precision. Your field becomes sharper, clearer, more magnetic. This is what the ancient traditions tried to express when they spoke of auras, chakras, halos. They were describing the visual metaphor of a very real, very subtle light body. In mystical Christianity, saints were painted with golden halos, not for decoration, but to represent a bioenergetic radiance perceived by those sensitive enough to see. In Vedic culture, pranic channels were mapped, not as metaphor, but as literal light highways, meridians of frequency distribution. And today, our instruments finally catch up. We now know light is informational currency for the body, a signaling system, a language. So what are your cells saying? What's the emotional signature encoded in the photons you emit? Because you're not just glowing. You're broadcasting, and your biophotonic field is a two-way signal. You send out light, and you also receive it. You pick up on others' frequencies. You feel energy in a room. You intuitively know when something's off, not because of magic, but because of resonance detection. You are a transmitter and a receiver, tuned through your thoughts, emotions, breath, and intention. So imagine this. Every time you breathe deeply, every time you choose compassion over fear, clarity over chaos, alignment over distortion, you're not just calming yourself, you're realigning your field. You're organizing your light, and organized light. That's power. That's magnetism. That's healing. You've been told you're just a body, a machine. But machines compute. But only beings radiate with conscious coherence. Beings of intention, of frequency, of fire. You are not automation. You are illumination. And that's what you are. So now the question shifts from, am I made of light, to something far more important. If I'm constantly emitting light, what message is that light carrying? Because whether you realize it or not, you are transmitting a signal into the field, into your relationships, into your body, and into your future. And that signal begins with your awareness, because the moment you become conscious of your light, you can start using it intentionally to heal, to connect, to create. So yes, your body is glowing, but more than that, your light is intelligent. And now that you know it's real, you get to decide what you'll do with it. By now, you know you're made of energy. You know your body emits light. But let's get practical, because energy doesn't just come from your cells. It flows directly from your emotions. Emotion is not just a feeling, it's a frequency state. And depending on that state, your entire reality bends with it. You felt it. Some days feel heavy, like everything drags. Others feel effortless synchronicity flows. People smile. Doors open. That's not random. It's resonance. Your emotions are tuning forks, each one setting the tone for how energy moves through your life. Let's look at the science. According to the Hawkins scale of consciousness, every emotional state carries a measurable vibrational frequency. Shame sits around 20 Hertz dense. Constricted, immobilizing. Guilt, grief, and fear vibrate in the 30–100 Hertz range, low fields that restrict growth and suppress vitality. In contrast, love vibrates around 500 Hertz. Joy, even higher. And enlightenment, a pure state of unity, consciousness resonates near 700 Hertz and beyond. These aren't metaphors. They're bioenergetic truths. Every time you enter a low emotional state, your field contracts. Your nervous system dysregulates. Your light becomes scattered, incoherent, vulnerable to interference. But when you shift into elevated emotion, your energy expands. Your field becomes coherent, radiant, magnetic. It's the difference between noise and music. And here's where it gets visual. Imagine you're an instrument, a multi-stringed being, vibrating in time and space. Every emotion you feel plucks a different string, and the chord you play becomes the soundtrack of your life. When you're stuck in anger, shame, fear, that's dissonance. Your strings are out of tune, your music becomes distorted, and the world around you reflects the tension back to you. But when you shift to gratitude, wonder, compassion, your chords harmonize. You move into resonance, and the field responds accordingly. This isn't just poetic, it's acoustic physics. Coherent frequencies attract structure. Chaotic ones invite breakdown. So how do you tune the instrument? Start with awareness. Track how you feel throughout the day. Notice what contracts your energy, people. Media, thoughts, foods, and what expands it, laughter, presence, sunlight, truth. Now, take it a level deeper. Just like an instrument responds to its environment, so do you. Color, for example, is not just visual, it's vibrational. Surround yourself with muted grays, deep reds, or dull browns for long enough, and you'll feel it in your field. But bring in high-frequency hues, turquoise, gold, emerald, white, and your space begins to lift. Your aura responds. Light harmonizes with light. Music is even more direct. Certain frequencies like 432 Hz, 528 Hz, or 963 Hz are known to align the body's electromagnetic field. They entrain the brain to alpha and theta states and gently lift emotion without force. This is why sacred chants, crystal bowls, or even certain ambient tones can change your whole mood in minutes. They're not New Age gimmicks. They are sonic architecture designs for your energy system. Even objects carry frequency. Crystals. Yes, but also wood, metal, textiles. Your environment is alive with signal, and your field is constantly entraining to it. So let's bring it all together. Your emotions are more than mental experiences. They are energetic signals, shaping the density or luminosity of your personal reality. When you feel low, you emit a frequency that collapses possibility. Your perception narrows. You miss opportunities. You attract friction. But when you elevate emotionally, even just slightly, you reopen the field. You allow alignment to re-enter. You start to tune reality to match your true tone. And here's the most empowering part. You don't need to force this. You just need to listen. Your body is already telling you what's in tune. Your breath knows. Your skin knows. Your nervous system is musical. And like any living instrument, it just wants to be tuned. So pause. Feel into the emotion you're carrying right now. Is it dense, heavy, or light? Lifted, effortless, because that frequency is not private. It's projecting outward into your relationships, your decisions, your health. So, here's the real question. If emotion is a string, what song are you playing in the field of reality right now? And are you willing to retune so that life starts dancing to your song instead of the static of your past? Because you're not just responding to the world, you're composing it. And once you learn to play with heart, everything around you begins to harmonize. Now that you understand the emotional spectrum, the question becomes, how do you tune yourself? Because this isn't just about feeling good. This is about energetic mastery. Your vibration is not random. It's influenced every moment by the tools you use, the environment you're in, and the practices you embody. Let's begin with the most powerful, accessible tool you already have, your breath. Breath is not just oxygen, it's rhythm, it's signal. It's the bridge between the unconscious and the conscious mind, the only bodily system you can control voluntarily and involuntarily. When you breathe shallow and rapid, your field scatters. You send messages of urgency and fear to your nervous system. But when you breathe resonantly slow, deep, and rhythmic, you send a signal of safety, coherence, and expansion. Try this. Inhale through your nose for 5 seconds. Exhale gently through your mouth for 5 seconds. Repeat for 3 minutes. This is called resonant breathing, a technique scientifically shown to optimize heart rate variability, increase parasympathetic activation, and bring the brain and heart into energetic alignment. In other words, this is you manually syncing your inner frequency to the harmonic rhythm of health and presence. Next, tool color. As we covered earlier, colors are not just visual, they are vibrational frequencies. You can wear color, you can bathe in color, you can even visualize color. Each hue carries a frequency signature. Red grounds and activates the root. Orange fuels creativity. Yellow sharpens clarity and will. Green opens the heart. Blue enhances truth. Indigo deepens insight. Violet lifts consciousness. This is not mysticism. It's applied chromotherapy, an emerging field that studies how exposure to specific wavelengths affects human biochemistry and mood regulation. So next time you dress, design a room, or even meditate, ask yourself, what frequency do I need more of today? Third tool, sound. Sound is vibration in its most direct form. It bypasses logic. It enters the body. You've likely felt it when a song lifts your spirit or a soundscape relaxes your nervous system. But there's more. Tools like binaural beats, when two slightly different frequencies are played in each ear, create a third frequency inside the brain. This is called brainwave entrainment. By choosing specific beat frequencies, you can shift your brain from beta focus to alpha calm to theta creative flow or even delta deep healing. Pair this with sound bowls, tuning forks, or even your own voice, and you begin to entrain your entire body field into coherence. This is the foundation of vibrational medicine healing through resonance. Fourth tool, grounding. Your body is not separate from the earth. It's an extension of it. Grounding practices like barefoot, walking on grass or sand, allow your body to absorb free-flowing electrons from the planet's magnetic field. This reduces inflammation, balances cortisol, and harmonizes your electromagnetic field. Think of it as an energetic reset, a return to baseline frequency. And finally, light hygiene. Just like you wash your hands or brush your teeth, your energetic hygiene needs daily attention. You can begin by waking up with natural light instead of screen glow, ending your day in darkness. To let your melatonin and pineal field recover, spending time in sunlight for vitamin D and energetic uplift, creating digital boundaries so artificial blue light doesn't distort your circadian rhythm and brainwave cycles. All of this affects your field clarity, your ability to send and receive signal cleanly in the quantum grid. Because here's the truth. You are not just feeling frequency, you are generating it. And every breath, every sound, every color, every footstep on the ground is either refining or distorting your field. But when used with awareness, these simple tools become technologies of transformation, and this is the beginning of energetic sovereignty. The point where you stop waiting for alignment and start creating it. Because when you learn how to play with light, with sound, with breath, you begin to conduct your own vibration like a symphony of intention. And once you master the instrument, you realize something even more powerful. There's one final conductor behind it all, and that your mind isn't just a mirror reflecting reality. It's a prism bending light, shaping energy, refracting experience. And the angle of that prism, your beliefs, determines the world you see. We're taught to think that perception is passive, that we look out at the world and see it as it is. But neuroscience says otherwise. In fact, the brain doesn't see reality, it predicts it. Every moment, your brain is comparing what's happening out there with what it already believes in here. And based on that filter, It constructs the version of reality you call truth. This is more than psychology. This is physics. Your beliefs are wave structures, and just like a lens bends light, your belief system bends possibility. Let's take it deeper. An fMRI study from Harvard Medical School revealed that when participants imagined a specific movement like flexing their hand, their brain activated the exact same neural circuits as if they were physically doing it. Not similar, the same. In other words, the brain doesn't distinguish between reality and vividly imagined experience. And what does that mean? It means your mind is a frequency generator, one that collapses potential into perception. When you believe in limitation, you tune your inner prism to bend toward narrow light. You see less, feel less, allow less, but shift your belief, and the entire spectrum changes. This is why the placebo effect is not a side effect. It's a mechanism of consciousness. When a person believes they're receiving medicine, their body responds, even if what they received is sugar. Why? Because the belief itself triggers biochemical change, a new hormonal cascade, a physical shift initiated by an invisible thought. That's frequency in action. Now, look at the macro level. Nelson Mandela, locked in a prison cell for 27 years, used that time not to collapse, but to rebuild his inner lens. While the external world showed confinement, he turned inward, visualizing a reconciled South Africa, a free people, a brighter tomorrow. He didn't just survive prison, he refracted it, turning the density of oppression into the radiance of global leadership. He adjusted his prism and, in doing so, shifted a nation. On the metaphysical side, Neville Goddard taught that imagination was the key to all creation, not fantasy, intentional imagination. He taught that the world outside you is nothing but a mirror responding to the frequency of your inner world. Live in the end. He said, feel the wish fulfilled, and reality will organize itself to match your inner state. Quantum physics seems to agree. In the double-slit experiment, particles behave differently based on whether or not they're observed. Conscious attention collapses, wave into particle, turning possibility into form. So what if your focused belief is the observer effect at the scale of personal destiny? What if your internal certainty bends external events not magically, but mechanically, through the fabric of the quantum field? Here's the image to hold. You are a prism. And every belief you carry is a degree of tilt, a slight rotation that changes what enters and what exits. Tilt toward fear, and the light you emit becomes fractured, incoherent. Tilt toward power, clarity, truth, and your light converges. It sharpens. It pierces illusion. So the question becomes, what beliefs are shaping your internal angles? What stories have you absorbed that limit the spectrum you allow yourself to see? Because here's the liberating truth. Your mind isn't made of glass. It's a mirror that can flex. That means reality is not objective. It's interactive. You're not trapped inside it. You're co-authoring it moment by moment, wave by wave. And this is why belief work is not just mindset training, it's field work. When you shift what you believe is possible, you literally shift the probability field around you. The neurons rewire, the hormones recalibrate, the biofield reorganizes. The signal you emit into the quantum changes, and life responds. Because you're not just observing reality, you're refracting it through the angle of your awareness. So now ask yourself, if every perspective is a prism, are you bending toward limitation or toward light? Because in the end, you are the prism, the source, and the spectrum. And when you shift the angle, you don't just see more clearly, you become the light you were meant to reflect. You've heard it before, we're all connected. It sounds poetic, but it's more than poetry. It's physics, it's biology, it's consciousness in action. You are not a separate self floating in a sea of strangers. You are a node in a living network, a dynamic, intelligent grid of light, thought, and shared vibration. Every thought you think, every emotion you emit, isn't just personal, it's transmitted into the collective field, into the web of minds we all share, into what scientists now call the global consciousness field. Let's start with the data. Since the late 1990s, the Global Consciousness Project, initiated at Princeton University, has been tracking real-time shifts in human consciousness using random number generators stationed across the world. These machines produce pure mathematical randomness, unless something big happens. And that's the breakthrough. During events of massive collective emotion, 9/11s, global meditations, tsunamis, even New Year's Eve, the machines begin producing anomalous data, statistically impossible coherence, as if the field of consciousness itself is interfering with probability. What does that mean? It means your consciousness, when synchronized with millions of others, has measurable effects on the physical world. This is the science of entangled awareness, but it goes deeper. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake introduced the concept of morphic resonance, the idea that all systems, from cells to societies, draw from informational fields based on patterns that have occurred before. When enough people learn something, it becomes easier for others to access, not through teaching, but through field resonance. It's why species evolve in quantum leaps. It's why new inventions appear in different places simultaneously. It's why when you heal yourself, you quietly give others permission to do the same. Because healing isn't just personal. It's transmissible. Just like trauma echoes through generations, so does elevation, so does clarity, so does love. Now, consider transcendental meditation, TM. Multiple studies across decades have shown that when even a small group of people meditate together consistently, with shared intention, crime rates drop, violence decrease, social tension relaxes. This isn't magic. It's coherence in motion. It's synchronized minds shifting the resonance of their environment, because the field listens, and you are always contributing to it. Whether consciously or unconsciously, you are sending signals into the field, like electrical impulses firing through a neural network. Which brings us to the image. You are a nerve cell in the brain of the universe. Your thoughts are synaptic transmissions. Your intentions are neural signals. And every moment, you are shaping the mind of the collective whole. This is what ancient mystics called the Akashic field, what yogis call unified awareness, what physicists are now beginning to model as the zero-point consciousness grid. Whatever name you give it, the truth remains. We are one body of mind. And when you understand this, you realize that your personal transformation isn't a private act. It's a broadcast, a recalibration of the field itself. So when you raise your frequency, you don't just change your mood. You recode the matrix. You become a tuning fork, and everything near you begins to vibrate in response. This is why your healing matters. This is why your alignment ripples further than you can imagine. Because the grid is not passive. It is responsive. And when you commit to coherence, to integrity, to compassion, to presence, you don't just feel better. You make it easier for others to do the same. Energetically, biologically, collectively, because what you emit, you amplify. So here's the deeper question. If the entire world is one global nervous system, what kind of signal are you sending into it right now? Are you transmitting fear or clarity, doubt or inspiration, noise or coherence? Because every breath you take, every word you speak, every thought you choose is part of something much bigger than your individual experience. It's part of the emergence of a new frequency on this planet. The collective shift isn't out there. It begins in you. And the moment you remember that the field begins to shift, not because the world changed, but because you became a signal strong enough to change it. Art miners. You've heard it before. Stay in the light. Think positive. High vibes only. But what if that's not the path to wholeness? What if the key to your highest frequency is hidden in the place you least want to look? Welcome to the shadow. The part of you that's been denied, repressed, exiled, not because it's evil, but because at some point you were told it was unacceptable. Your anger, your fear, your jealousy, your grief, all the raw, messy, deeply human emotions locked away in the basement of your psyche, while the world demanded you smile and keep it together. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, called this your shadow self, the unconscious container for every aspect of you that your ego couldn't accept. But here's what most people miss. The shadow isn't your enemy. It's your energy. It holds your suppressed power, your primal clarity, your unapologetic truth. The more you resist it, the more it controls you through projection, sabotage, self-doubt. But when you integrate it, you become whole. Because light doesn't exist without shadow, and your radiance only grows in proportion to your willingness to stand in the dark without flinching. Let's go deeper. Jung also spoke of archetypes, universal patterns of the human psyche. Within the shadow, these archetypes become distorted. The wounded child becomes the victim. The warrior becomes the destroyer. The magician becomes the manipulator. The lover becomes the addict. But these distortions aren't fixed. They're waiting to be reclaimed, transformed, brought back into alignment through awareness and ritual. This is the sacred art of shadow work, not to fix yourself, but to meet yourself fully, honestly, lovingly, to enter the cave where your fear lives and realize it holds the wisdom you've been avoiding. Because the truth is, your shadow is not trying to harm you. It's trying to be heard. It wants catharsis. It wants embodiment. It wants a seat at the table. And when you give it that, not only does the emotional weight dissolve, but your energy field becomes clearer, stronger, more coherent. Now, let's talk practice. Shadow work isn't abstract. It's visceral. It looks like sitting with the discomfort instead of escaping it. Naming the anger instead of spiritualizing it. Writing down the thoughts you'd never say aloud. Screaming in the car. Crying without apology. Moving your body in ways that shake the shame loose from your bones. This is not regression. It's release. Catharsis is not weakness. It's the nervous system exhaling the pain it's held for too long. And when done with intention ritual, breath, sound, safety, it becomes alchemy. You transmute lead into gold, pain into power, shame into sovereignty. You reclaim the archetype. The wounded child becomes the inner healer. The warrior becomes the protector. The magician becomes the visionary. The lover becomes the sacred connector. You don't become someone new. You remember who you were before the split. This work isn't easy. It's confronting. It requires honesty, humility, and courage. But the reward, freedom, energetic integrity, unshakable light. Because when you've made peace with your shadow, there's nothing left to hide, no mask to maintain, no energy wasted on pretending. You radiate not because you avoided the dark, but because you danced with it. Your radiance deepens. Not by bypassing your pain, but by turning it into your teacher. And this is why shadow work isn't the opposite of light work. It's the foundation of it. You cannot ascend without integration. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. So ask yourself, what parts of me have I been pushing away? What emotion keeps returning, not to punish me, but to be held? What part of me is still waiting for my love? Because healing is not found in perfection. It's found in the union of opposites, the sacred marriage between your light and your dark. So stop running from your shadow. Sit with it. Listen to it. Learn its language. Because the moment you stop fighting it, it stops fighting you. And something extraordinary happens. You stabilize your light. You no longer flicker in the wind of external chaos. You shine rooted, wise, grounded, because now you're not afraid of the dark. You've walked through it. And you've brought your torch with you, not to destroy it, but to illuminate it. You are not here to fight the shadow. You're here to learn how to stand in the middle of it and shine anyway. You've done the inner work. You've tuned your breath. You've realigned your emotions. You've activated your light. But here's the next truth. In a world saturated with static, even the brightest light needs protection. Why? Because energy is not neutral. It's interactive. You're not just radiating frequency, you're constantly absorbing it. From people, from environments, from digital signals, from unspoken intentions. And if your field isn't fortified, your frequency becomes porous, leaky, inconsistent. unstable. So, this is the part where we move from activation to maintenance. Let's start with the concept of the energy shield. This isn't fantasy. It's bioenergetics. Every being emits a torus field, a spinning electromagnetic bubble that extends several feet from the body. And this field can be consciously shaped by intention, breath, visualization, and vibration. Here's a sampler technique. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply into the heart center. Visualize a golden sphere of light expanding around your body. See it as radiant, fluid, intelligent, permeable to love, impenetrable to distortion. Anchor it with a phrase like, "Only that which serves my highest frequency may enter." Do this daily, especially before entering chaotic spaces, digital overload, or emotional conversations. But protection isn't just internal, it's environmental. Your energy field responds to your surroundings. So let's talk field hygiene. Start with your physical space. Use sound to reset your room. Tuning forks, singing bowls, solfeggio frequencies. These disrupt energetic residue and bring your environment back into coherence. Use scent. Essential oils like frankincense, sage, or rose carry high vibrational signatures. They don't just smell good, they shift the frequency in the room and your auric field. Use color and light intentionally. Soft, white lighting. Full spectrum bulbs. Warm golds and blues can recalibrate your nervous system. Ditch the cold fluorescents. They dim more than just your room. Next, the power of nature. Your body is bioelectric. And nature trees, soil, oceans is the original grounding grid. Walk barefoot. Touch living plants. Immerse in sunlight. Swim in natural water. This isn't spiritual fluff. It's known as earthing, and studies show it reduces inflammation, balances cortisol, and recharges your electromagnetic field. Your body isn't built on Earth, it's built of Earth. It's tuned to it. So when life feels noisy, go back to the original signal. Now, let's talk about amplification. Protection is the filter, but amplification is the booster, and for that, we work with intentional tools. Crystals, when programmed with intention and placed in grid formations, act as frequency modulators. Quartz, black tourmaline, amethyst, selenite, each supports a specific band of energetic data. This is not superstition, it's piezoelectric interaction. Create a crystal grid in your room or meditation space. Place them in sacred geometrical patterns, circles, stars, triangles, to stabilize your space as a resonant container. Carry a stone. Program it with a phrase. Let it act as a physical reminder of the frequency you choose to uphold. Finally, routine. Just like brushing your teeth, your light needs daily calibration. Create a rhythm, morning breathwork plus light shielding. Midday grounding reset. Step outside. Hands on nature. Evening sound or scent-based auric cleansing plus intention review. Think of this as frequency hygiene. Not because you're broken, but because you're sensitive. Because your system is awake, and because sensitivity isn't weakness, it's superpower when mastered. Here's the big idea. You are a transmitter, and just like a radio tower, your signal is only as clear as the system that protects and powers it. So ask yourself, what am I tuning into every day? Who or what is draining my field? What spaces feel incoherent? And what rituals recenter me in truth? Because coherence isn't a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. And when you commit to it, your light becomes stable, resilient, unshakable. You become a lighthouse, not flickering but radiant, rooted, reaching. And from that place, something extraordinary happens. You don't just reflect reality anymore. You sate it, because when you broadcast at the right frequency, the universe doesn't just notice, it synchronizes. So now you know, you are not just a name, a role, a body wrapped in skin. You are not here to survive, conform, or obey. You are light, encoded with intelligence. You are energy, vibrating with memory and intention. You are consciousness, aware of itself through human form. And you are a creator, bending the very field that responds to you. You are not just human, you are Hue-man, a spectrum, a system, a signal, alive, awake, and infinitely capable. The world didn't teach you this, because a system built on fear cannot thrive on beings who remember their light. But now you do. You remember? And remembering is the first act of power, because once you know what you are, you stop reacting and start choosing. Choosing how to breathe, how to feel, how to speak, how to radiate. This is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about living your light with clarity, projecting your field with coherence, and walking through the world with the quiet force of someone who knows they are connected to everything. So what now? Now you practice. You align your day not by obligation, but by vibration. You start the morning not with a scroll, but with a signal. You breathe. You choose a frequency. You walk into the world like a transmitter of transformation, because you are, and you always were, and the field. It's not waiting for permission, it's waiting for your resonance. So here's the question. You are the artist. You are the brush. You are the canvas. The question was never, do I have enough colors? The real question is, will I dare to paint? Because the masterpiece of your life is unfinished, and the light is in your hands now.